Right, hello there everyone, welcome back to James Redmond TV, and we've just won a football match. Yes, best team in the world is back. I've actually got a message for Fulham fans. Fulham fans, your biggest ever achievement is Michael Jackson knowing who your football club is. Your best ever player is a fella named Clint. And to have you child abusers, and let me say that again, child abusers booing a player who played 16 appearances for your team, 16 years of age for your team, probably made about 2 appearances, and you're sitting there and you're booing him all game like as if he was someone who absolutely traitored your club and slated on them and left them in despair. Fuck off, mate. Shut up. Anti-Scouse chance all game, just to get bummed 3-1 is the result that we all needed. It really was. And I never thought I'd leave today with making Fulham an enemy. A good football team. In fact, I admire their football team. I like the way they've built the football club. I like the culture they have around the football club. I watched an interview recently of Danny Murphy. He was speaking about his time at Fulham, how much of a good time it was, the Europa League final, how they fell short. Honestly, very interesting when you follow up the history. Horrible fan base. Horrible, disgusting fan base. And they deserved every part of a 3-1 slapping. And their football team did really well for them. The football team went on the front foot. They were competitive. They were making really good tackles defensively, set out fairly well. They conceded a couple of goals. I mean, for some reason, we only know how to score world-class goals against Fulham. So even on that department, if I was a Fulham fan, I'm not too discouraged by the performance of their team. But thank goodness I'm not a Fulham fan, because, oh my goodness, I would be absolutely disgraced to be associated with that fan base. Just disgusting, really. You know, all the anti-Scouse chants all game, child abusing fan base, just a very big group of weirdos deserved a 3-1 loss in your faces. And hopefully that football club just stays mediocre for the rest of its days, just like its first 100-plus year history. Honestly, bullshit team. Just had to get that out there, because I think when people just get away with too much, oh, we're just going to chant because it's football heritage. No, sometimes you deserve to get bummed, and in this instance, Fulham deserved every single piece of the 3 goals that we scored. Now, in correlation to Liverpool and what this means for us, it was still a mixed performance. But oh my goodness, I was so pleased for Jurgen Klopp to drop Núñez and Salah. I was so pleased to not see their entitled faces on the pitch. And I love I love Salah and I love Núñez. But oh my goodness, it really does feel like at times you watch them and they just know they're going to play. They know they're going to play, and they genuinely believe the way they're playing is acceptable because they continue to play that way. Núñez a bit different to Salah because Núñez still tries. He's just at times fundamentally not good enough. Salah, also fundamentally not good enough in a lot of departments, but most importantly, lack of effort, lack of tracking back at times, stupid decisions and trying to take all the glory. To see those 2 dropped put the biggest smile on my face, and to provide opportunities to somebody like Gakpo, who's very decent form amongst the bad side, but still very decent form, has warranted them a starting place. And it's weird with Cody Gakpo. It's like, he knows he's playing well, like the start of the game today, but then he'll just do something to mess it up, and he just thinks, you know what, I can afford a couple of mistakes. It's like, no, Cody, you've got to stay on top form, because you can provide a lot to this team. If Cody Gakpo just makes the right decisions, which is what he was known for at PSV, then you get a player who was actually very encouraging and very beneficial to your side. And Gakpo was a big reason why we finished in a Europa League place last season. At one point, we were on track to finish in a Chelsea place, like 9th or 10th. Cody Gakpo signs, he plays, and the way that he massively enhanced our system when Núñez went back to the bench, shown in the performances and allowed other players to get goals. That happened today as well. But he just makes a few mistakes at times, and he needs to fix up on that area. Diogo Jota, Mr. Inevitable, best finisher of the football club, one of the most underrated players in the league as well, finally gets his goal since coming back from injury, which is something that's been coming, let's be honest. And even though, here's the way it works with Jota, if the midfield play bad, then Jota isn't going to have a good game. He is a player who needs service. He's a player like Haaland. I'm not saying he's as good as Haaland before the City wet wipes come into the comments and go, oh my goodness, mate, how dare you, how dare you. You'll get what I mean. He's more of a poacher like the way Haaland is, so just stylistically, he's good off his right foot, good off his left foot, can head a ball into the back of the net. but he needs the service, and the midfield weren't necessarily providing the service, and the glimpse that he did get, he finally scored. It was still similar to a lot of our recent performances. The only difference was, guys, is that we put the ball in the back of the net. Fair play to Luis Diaz. Probably had his best season in a Liverpool shirt. Something that isn't really being talked about. You know, if you said at the beginning of the season we were going to be competing in a title race when it comes to May, and Luis Diaz is going to be one of your best players, you're thinking finally something kicked in for Luis Diaz, and it has. Because the output has ever so slightly increased with Luis Diaz as well. He's still not perfect end product-wise. None of the wingers we've ever really had have been. But what I will say is that one thing that I like about Luis Diaz is he's very much not only chaos, but he's now adding the end product, and he creates space for other players, and he's just a headache, and you do need at least one of those players on the pitch. What doesn't work as well is when you've got two chaotic players in Núñez and Diaz, and then you've got another player there, Salah, who's there to provide them chances, except all of them aren't the best when it comes to end product. Salah gets the numbers, but based on conversion rate, still not the best. Today, to see someone like Jota just get a few chances but still score, that's huge. And I like the way that Klopp was about to take them off. I think that's like a mentality thing where it gets the players like, I need to contribute because I'm about to come off the pitch. And we always seem to score when Klopp is about to do substitutions. But basically, I think Klopp made the best of what's been a really crappy situation. A squad that's underperformed, under-delivered in terms of effort, and then now you're seeing the fact that, right, you're coming off, your place isn't guaranteed, this is what we need. We need a mixture. We won the Carabao Cup from maximising our squad depth, even if it weren't the best, even if it was a few kids from the academy who maybe didn't warrant a place in that final. Well, they did, because they were going to play better than certain other players, and they did the basics. And today, Gravenberch, okay, had a couple of moments again where I was fairly frustrated. Please run more. Gravenberch, fine with. Gakpo, fine with. Jota, fine with. It wasn't an elite performance, but I wasn't expecting an elite performance based on what we'd seen this season. You would have to have not watched any Liverpool games to think we were going to go to Fulham, smash Fulham, and it was going to be a perfect 3-4-0 win. 3-1, 3 bangers against Fulham, we take those all day, baby boy. We take those all day, baby boy. And I believe it's a win you need, and to be joint points with top yet again, even though City have a game in hand, Arsenal have more goal difference. We're very much the team that are the ultimate underdogs in this title race. I don't even care about the title race. I'm going to sound like Jordan Henderson. I only care about the next game, mate. Only care about the next game. We're only focused on the next game, because that's all that matters at the end of the day. I wear the fucking Reds, man. You know what I mean? In fact, that's more Newcastle, innit? There's fundamental differences between Newcastle, Sunderland, so sorry for being not racist. What's the word I'm looking for? I wear racist there. That's not racist. That's like culturist. Is culturist the word? Probably not a word. I was just thinking, like, whatever that word is that discriminates somewhat, like the way that people think that people from Birkenhead are Scousers, it's like, that is a big insult. They're really not. And by the way, they're not even close. Not even close. And they're quite creepy as well, the way that they try and portray, I am Scout, you're not a Scouser, you are a wool. And that's fine to be a wool, but continue to be a wool, because that's what you are. And just own the identity. It's like nowadays we can identify as anything. If you are a wool, you can't identify as a Scouser. If you are a dog, you can't identify as a fucking cow. You can try and moo, but you can't identify it. Keep woofing, motherfucker, basically. So the point of conclusion is that Sunderland people aren't Newcastle people. And because Sunderland people aren't Newcastle people, I have to make the correction in my voice and my sentence to make my point clear that Jordan Henderson probably wouldn't say how we're, but he might say how we're. I just don't know if he says how we're, because he's not from Newcastle, and I only remember that with Newcastle. But maybe he does. Maybe it's a bit of a both thing. Liverpool, thank you for winning a football game. Thank you for not causing me much stress. It was fairly comfortable, and I say fairly because you still did mess up towards the end of the first half and decided, James, we actually do still want you to grow a few grey hairs, but don't you worry, son, we're going to sort you out in the second half, which you did. Really appreciate it. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. We are not through to the next round. Speaking of next round, Coventry just beat Manchester United, yet Manchester United still found a way to get a place in an FA Cup final, and they are now celebrating at the idea of getting bummed yet again by Manchester City, the biggest team in Manchester at the moment. Maybe not the biggest, but in terms of successful team, definitely Manchester is blue, and Manchester will be blue in the FA Cup final. Just want to clarify that as well. I am so fuming that Coventry City players can't take penalties, but that comeback was absolutely 100% categorically superb. Fair play, but you can't take penalties. Please learn them. Anyway, thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and let me know what you think about the Reds. Where are we going? What's the next step and all that malarkey? Anyway, thank you for watching. See you later. Mesh potato.